Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Wednesday, July 25th, and this is the market overview, looking at the Dow SPX VIX, TNA, PFXE, GLD, SLV, and all the rest. So, kind of a mixed day in the market. I actually didn't get to watch much of it, unfortunately. But I guess I'll just jump right in. Okay, last night we were saying the daily looked poor. The 60-minute was dying for a bounce, and at least in the Dow, the 60-minute won out for the moment. So cool. At its high today, busting out the high of yesterday, very interesting, and closing just above the halfway point of yesterday's candle. Slightly bullish. I mean, it's not the largest candle, so but it is what it is. Slightly bullish. Beyond that, we have some of the indicators already trying to turn around a little bit. Now we know that the 14-day RSI moving average is headed on the way down. So overall, it should be more negative than positive. But if it wants to do a small reset after, hundreds of points to the downside, that's completely fine. We have the fast stochastic losing some momentum. We have the CCI pointing up now. We have the RSI pointing up now, and losing a little steam in the MACD histogram, and the MACD losing a little bit of angle. So overall, the daily certainly is still more negative than positive. We're still below the long-term moving average bar. We still have the middle Bollinger Band above everything. But if it wants to do a little bit of a reset here, it's completely fine. It won't change the overall direction unless it takes a huge amount of damage, which I suppose is possible. We still have the ascending lows. If this is a new low, then that would make sense. But that also makes it so that the bulls now have to prove themselves by making a new recent high, most likely 1300. Does this look like it can reset and do a 1300 at the moment? No, it doesn't. So, anyways, any pop to the upside, completely welcome, and essentially would be gearing up for probably a move which will take out this recent low at just shy of 12,500. So, very interesting. Now, 60-minute last night was saying that it needed a bounce. Needed a bounce, needed a bounce. You can see that, go back in time. And we can see here, it needs a bounce. Well, it definitely got a bounce. At least a partial bounce. I mean, this is a pretty good move considering what the last 3 days have been like. Is it finished? Is it complete? We still have room to move on the MACD. MACD histogram is already having some problems. The RSI is not impressive. The CCI has already gone to the top and is turning over. Same with the fast stochastic, not the slow. 14-day RSI moving average still has the entire length to move. Overall, not impressive positioning in the indicators. This one is, I would say, at 50-50 at this point. And that it did not take out this recent high is also not a good sign. Could do it tomorrow. If it does, it will be continue to be positive for short term. Be able to reset some of the secondaries which are trying to go against the up move. But overall, can it get to way up here again? 14 days says it's possible, maybe, for a retest. But everything else, it's just a little too shaky for me. So, 50-50. Moving on to SPX. Notice it is red. It was down today by a small amount. Ending with a spinning top. Not exceeding yesterday's low. A few good things going on for the bulls. But overall, everything is ticking down. The RSI and the CCI leveling out. But overall, very bearish in the daily time frame still. And it doesn't have nearly as much cushion as the Dow does. So more bearish than the Dow, and while it did not get the push that the Dow did in the 60-minute time frame, did its indicators reset themselves as well? Well, kind of. Not exactly to the same extent. MACD histogram has more room to move to the upside. I'm sorry, that's the MACD. The MACD histogram is already kind of crapping out. Same with the RSI. CCI is already trying to roll over. Fast stochastic trying to roll over. Slow stochastic has more room to move to the upside than the Dow does. Fortune day RSI moving average, while pointing up, it doesn't have a great angle, but it does have more room to move to the upside than the Dow. This looks more likely that before a move up, that the indicators would go down and meet the 14-day RSI moving average again. Question will be, how far does the price fall before that happens? It's not in a great position to hold this before that is complete. Only 7 points. So while still having a bullish potential that's greater than the Dow, its reset is much more dangerous than the Dow. So not great for the bulls. Good for the bears. And the VIX, very interesting. The VIX being red today. Spinning top, getting outside of that possible channel that we talked about last night. Closing below the major price consensus level. Red VIX, red SPX. Somebody's lying. We're not sure who. You can see that we had a slight blip in the heat map yesterday. Talked about it. It wasn't major, but a little bit of a blip. We can see that the CCI is rolling over, RSI is rolling over, fast stochastic losing some momentum, 14-day RSI moving average still poised for a good move up, along with the histogram and the MACD. This is definitely more bullish than bearish, but there are some warning signs, and it closed below the very important $20 level. It's not far away. It can get back up inside of there easily tomorrow, but it did close below it today. Very curious. TNA. Not an impressive day either. Not exceeding yesterday's lows. Not beating the major price consensus level. Very minor pierce. Spinning top. This line is a little bit off. We've talked about... Actually, I'll get to that in a second. Have more of a bottoming area developing in the heat map. Up on the CCI. Losing momentum on the fast stochastic, leveling out on the RSI, down on the histogram, down on the MACD, down on the 14-day RSI moving average, down on the slow stochastic. Definitely more bearish than bullish, but it's not perfect. And we've talked about... Oh, I haven't zoomed out enough. The possible head and shoulders. And why aren't my trend lines showing up here? Let me fix this. Okay. Last night we talked about the break of the possible head and shoulders pattern, had the connections here, and we talked about the need for a retest of this line. It did happen today, which is pretty darn amazing. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to the daily, it'll be easier to see. Daily doesn't have the scale just right, but so here we had it, came up, talked about it, needed to do a back test of that. It did kiss it today, which is very interesting. It seems too early. I'm not sure if that's going to fulfill the need for that back test, if that's enough, or if it'll need to be kissed again. It's just very odd that it would do it all in one day. I mean, just one day later. And beyond that, something else kind of popped out at me, which was, what if this is not the bottom leg of the Head and Shoulders? What if it's actually this right here, and we haven't broken the neckline yet? While I do think that this one makes a lot of sense, and the back kiss of it today also makes some sense, I have to also think about, what if this is wrong and this line is not the right line? There's a few potentials. You can go over here and connect it just like that. Doesn't quite match up right. But if I take it and I connect it here, it certainly does. And now we have a very different neckline, which could be considered cleaner than the previous one. And it's flatter, in which case we would have to go and break this line. I'm going to leave it up for the next few days, see which one makes more sense as it progresses. But there is the possibility that we do have a Head and Shoulders and that we have not broken it yet. So, and this is a little bit out of whack. I think that it lines up with the bottom of these candles just right. It just doesn't look right because of the scale. I was playing around with it earlier, and it seemed to match up just perfect. So we'll see what happens. But there's that possibility. And of course, 14-day ticking down, stochastics getting low, RSI flattening out, CCI turning up, down on the histogram, down on the MACD. And if we look at the 60-minute time frame, this was begging for a move up yesterday. It didn't really get one today. Here we can actually see, ooh, what happened? Here we can actually see the kiss of this possible line. We can see it banging its head on this possible line yesterday. And today just not doing much of anything. We still have a good setup in the secondaries for further move up. So with only the stochastics in slight disagreement. So definitely more positive than negative in the 60-minute time frame, and we're going to have to see what tomorrow brings. Moving on. UUP. Very interesting. And my scale is wrong. There we go. This is a possible tell. Down moving UUP today, we got a downtick. Downtick is not very extreme, but it is what it is. It takes us down to just shy of 22.92. 6 cents to the downside from where we closed today. That would give a positive move in the market to some extent, and then we will have to see what it wants to do. But we did fill this gap here today, completed that gap fill. The question will become, if we're going to do this bubble corrective move, which we probably will, it'll take out a little bit of this gap, and since we're going to already be there, is it going to take out all of this gap? So 22.92 and then possibly 22.85. Either one of those, one or both, will be a positive move in the market, with everyone being bearish. I've talked in the daily running thread about the need to steal from the retails, and this makes complete sense. Beyond that, we have We're easing off of the possible topping area in the heat map. But look at this. We have the CCI moving down, the fast stochastic moving down, the RSI moving down, the histogram moving down, the MACD ticking down slightly. Only the 14-day RSI moving average is really holding its up movement, along with the slow stochastic. Yes, this is poised for some movement down in the daily, and that does align really well with the thesis for bubble corrected move and possible gap fill here. Very interesting. It would catch a lot of people off guard and steal their money. So do I think that it's possible? Absolutely, I certainly do. FXE, the euro. We got an uptick in the euro. We know that the last one did not work out. This one I think is more likely. The angle is better. It's a sharper tell on the need for a bubble corrective move. This would take us all the way back up to 21.65 roundabout. A good move in the euro. You can see the CCI moving on up, the stochastics rolling over, the RSI rolling over, the histogram rolling over, the MACD ticking up, and the 14-day RSI moving average losing a little bit of momentum. That would roughly coincide with where the market was 5 days ago, if we count money for money. And 4 days ago. Well, at least that would be in the right general vicinity. So between 4 and 8 days ago, if we look at SPX 4 to 8 days ago, well, there's 4, and it's all the way in this range. So somewhere between 1355 and 1380 would be the range that we should expect if we get that corrective move in the euro and in UUP. Very interesting. Now 1380 seems like a bit of a stretch, but if we were to go up and fail before reaching the previous high, which would be very, very bearish, and that would definitely set up for a break of this low over here, and that would seem to line up pretty well with having a reset on some of these secondaries and then go in for the finish with the 14-day RSI moving average. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And there that is. GLD. Look at that. Gapping up, closing above the long-term moving average bar. We finally have something that, trying to break out of this little range that we have going on here. It has a ways to go before the major price consensus level and making a new recent high. But if it's able to do that, then this pattern is probably busted. We do have a blip in the heat map. We have everything moving on up. CCI massively up. Stochastics going up. 14-day RSI moving average turning up. RSI up. Histogram up. MACD up. We've been waiting for a movement. This looks like it could be the beginning of it. And if the dollar is going to go down, then yeah, this sucker should go up. SLV still stuck in its mess. Nothing to see here. This is still just a straight line all the way through here. Worthless. CompQ, the NASDAQ. Wow, this line just got totally all dinked up. This program does that for some reason. And if this line is correct, it'll close just below it. Definitely bearish. Spinning top. I'm not sure if this one can be connected the way that TNA can, but I'll give it a try. See if any of this makes any sense. And not really. It comes close, possibly there. It doesn't seem to work out too well for me. I'm not going to make anything of that. Certainly bearish in the daily and making a new low. Well, besting yesterday's low anyway, not breaking this low. Getting close to the major price consensus level, indecision candle. Everything ticking down with the exception of the RSI going sideways. Massively bearish, more bearish than essentially anything else, and a lot of that is due to Apple. Speaking of Apple, here we are. There's that big gap. We were following that in the after hours yesterday. 25, almost $26 to the downside. Indecision candle closing above the major price consensus level, but piercing it. Definite bottoming blip in the heat map. Everything moving down. It is bearish daily. Is definitely bearish on the daily. And going on to GE, trying to get a better read on the Dow. Yeah, I was able to hold above the major price consensus level. It made a new, well, a high that bested yesterday's close, or yesterday's high, I should say. That is bullish. It did even pierce the upper price consensus level by a fraction. Disagreement in the stochastics still. CCI pointing up, RSI ticking up, histogram moving up, MACD moving up, looking for a bullish cross. Only the 14-day RSI moving average, which is losing a little bit of its angle, but nothing major yet. Definitely more bullish than bearish, but it is kind of in a iffy area. If this one's able to break out of this high, then wow, we're going to definitely should have a move up in the overall market, and we do have some indications that that is going to happen. JP Morgan, most important bank. Into the long-term moving average bar, ending with a spinning top. This is its problem area. CCI is still going up, stochastics up, RSI up, MACD histogram up, 14-day RSI moving average still down. If it's going to run into problems, now's the time it's going to happen. We did have news out of Euroland about the further desire for a central bank, and that is very positive for the financials. If we have more news on that, maybe it'll be enough to overcome this problem area, but it is still way too early. I wish there was a better way of telling, but all that we know is that this is a problem area. XLF, the financials. Yeah, notice that they didn't have nearly as nice a day. They did beat the high from yesterday, which is positive. It has closed some of the gap here. I would expect it to finish itself, and then it can run into some problems. We have kind of a mismatch in the indicators. CCI is up, 14-day RSI moving average down, disagreement in the stochastics, up on the RSI, down on the histogram, down on the MACD, more bearish than bullish, but there are a few indications that maybe this can follow JP Morgan up. Very hard to tell. USO oil, since we still don't have the data for XOI, not sure why. Ending with a hammer, bottom of a recent range. 14-day RSI moving average still moving up, stochastics down, CCI sideways, up on the RSI, down on the histogram, down on the MACD. This is definitely more bearish than bullish, and it peeking its head out of the long-term moving average bar is not a good sign. Still have this gap above us, but have this gap below us as well. This is a hard read. If the world's economy is slowing, oil should go down. This is a hard read. The dollar's going to go down, it should go up. Very difficult. And what else? Oh, quick Vegas baby. Had that candle which was poor. Totally destroyed the idea of this being a bottoming hammer. Went even lower today. It's lower than this in the after hours, actually outside the lower Bollinger Band. If it opens there, it should attempt to get out of it. And everything ticking down. It's a nasty chart in the daily. LVS, nasty chart as well. The sucker is down to 35, just above 35 in the after hours, way outside the lower Bollinger Band. It should have a move up to get back inside of it afterwards, but wow, everything moving down on the daily, even the bearish cross. Huge volume spike today though. Huge negative volume spike today, which exceeds all of the volume going back to the end of April. So, could today be a volume climax and it starts to climb? It's possible. Way too early. Chart's still looking nasty, and have to wait till tomorrow. And win. Spinning top, new low. CCI leveling out, RSI leveling out, down on the 14-day RSI moving average, the histogram, MACD, and the MACD histogram. This sucker was down $2 in the after hours, putting it right here, way outside the lower Bollinger Band. Should go sideways or it should go up to get back inside of it. Will that be a change? We don't have a volume spike on this one, so who knows? Ugly chart in the daily. Oh, and just for fun, BYD. Wow, this one got annihilated today. It was actually, I think, up in the after hours, way outside the lower Bollinger Band. Volume spike yesterday, not today. Massively down, massively red in the heat map, and turning up on the CCI, and very low on almost everything else. Could this be a bottom? If it is, it'll be positive for the Vegas stocks. But today, nasty day for Vegas stocks. I'm hoping that it's a bottom, short-term bottom. Won't know till tomorrow, maybe the day after. And that is what it is. Anything else I'm missing? Oh, we looked at RSP last night. Unweighted S&P 500 without all the weird stuff that we have with SPX at times, not always. This wasn't a bad chart. Spinning top, pierced the major price consensus level, wasn't able to close below it, wasn't able to exceed yesterday's low. Turning up on the CCI, going sideways on the RSI, everything else ticking down, losing momentum in the fast stochastic. And not as bad as SPX. And it's 60 minutes. We can see that it has great alignment for, well, more than decent alignment for further movement up. Only the CCI and the fast stochastic disagreeing, everything else ticking up. I do think that there's a really good chance tomorrow for a bounce. The question will be, can it be maintained? Can it squeeze all the shorts, which are heavy out there at the moment? And if that's the case, how high can it squeeze? I'm just guessing, but I think it'll be around the 1370 area. Might take it a week to do so. And just for fun, this worked on Walmart. Oh, Walmart, I didn't even look at that. Oh, it looks like I'm off. About the 1360 area would be the 66. So, 1348, 1354, 1361.62. Very interesting to see if it's able to meet or exceed those targets. And why not Walmart? This one's been fascinating. I didn't even bother to look at it today. See how those Fibonacci's worked out today? Wow. Well, it came close. It didn't stop on the dime like it has on some of these other days. But really, it's within the tolerance that we've had. And it could be that my drawing is just a little bit off. But pretty darn close to opening at the 66 and backing away from it. Just interesting how those levels are working out. Spinning top red, and got a downtick today. First downtick on the 14-day RSI moving average. If everything else is able to turn, maybe even after a little bit of a reset, I'm wondering if this one's going to be done. It looks like a bear flag to some extent. Maybe the ascent is a little too high. Matter of fact, just so we can look at it better. Does that look like a bear flag? Kind of does to me. But very mixed in the secondaries. Looks like we need at least a partial reset first. And that's it for tonight. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you.